If you're starting to think about your early fall decor ideas, but you're not quite ready to pull out your pumpkins, then I think you're really gonna like this video. Hey guys, it's Aaliyah with Open Doors, Open Hearts blog, and today I'm gonna share with you 5 ideas for how to slowly begin adding fall decor into your home. And stick around to the end, because at the end, I'll be sharing 6 tips for how I do this on a budget. So the first thing that you're going to want to do when you're getting ready to start decorating for early fall is to simplify. That's the first thing that I do when I start transitioning from one season to the next. It gives you a blank slate and it really helps you to know where you're going to need to add some different seasonal decor and where things can be kind of just left alone. The next tip I have for early fall decor is to stick with a neutral or earthy color scheme. This is something I did last year and I feel like it was really beneficial because when I was ready to go full-blown fall, the earthy color scheme was perfect because it fit very well with almost any color scheme I would choose. Last year I chose to go with a plum and copper theme, and the earthy greens and browns were perfect. This year I really am leaning more toward like a moss and a mustard and maybe a rust for what I want to do when I'm ready to go full-blown fall, and I think that this simple earthy color scheme is going to be a perfect foundation for when I'm ready to do that. So the next tip for getting your home decorated for early fall is to start adding in some of the cozy feeling items. So your candles, your textiles, start adding in some textures, maybe even some fun patterns. This will be a way that you can kind of easily transition into the full fall feel, but it'll be a slow progression and it's not going to be like full-blown pumpkin in your face. It's just going to be a nice pillow that has a pretty texture and a simple pattern that will kind of lead into the fall season. Honestly, this pillow that I have behind me is a perfect example. It is a lot of texture, but the colors are neutral. They fit that earthy color scheme. It's a taupe with black, but then it's got a pattern on it that's simple. So this pillow very much speaks to like an early transition into fall. So tip number 4 is pumpkins. Take them or leave them. In early fall decor, you can absolutely put some pumpkins. Last year when I did my early fall decor, I had some pumpkins. We were growing pumpkins in the garden, just the cute little babies, and they were ready at the beginning of August. So I just started incorporating them because I had them on hand and they were ready, so I did it. But if you're not growing pumpkins in your garden, or you're growing the huge pumpkins and they're not ready, then don't put pumpkins in your home decor yet. There's nothing that says that early fall has to have pumpkins or doesn't have pumpkins. So my last tip for early fall decor ideas is to bring elements in from outside. Get outside, just wander around. What is blooming right now? What does it look like? And whatever it is, bring it in. My daughter and I recently were walking along the ditches in front of our home and we saw all kinds of Queen Anne's lace. So we just started cutting all this Queen Anne's lace and put it in a little cup of water, and then we brought it in and put it in all of these vases in here in the living room. So another option for bringing in the elements of nature into your home, if you're not into the idea of Queen Anne's lace, if it's not readily available, or you've done it before and you know that it's kind of messy, it does shed a bit as it starts to dry out. The girls have been wandering around the living room and just sweeping it up with their little, Melissa and Doug dustpan. So if you don't want to do that, another option that I have done for the 3 past falls, and I'll do it again this fall, is to just go outside and grab some green branches, or maybe you have some branches that are starting to turn already. Just clip those and bring those in, and then all you'll have are just the little leaves that fall off, as opposed to a bunch of little bits of the Queen Anne's lace. And here's a bonus tip that I just thought about that I wanted to share with you. When you are transitioning from summer to fall decor, go slow. There is no reason to transition all in one day. Honestly, I started this slow transition from summer to fall last year when I first did some early fall decorating, and something about it just was very joyful and peaceful, and it made it really, really enjoyable, and not this like crazy stressful, like pull out all the totes, get it all done in one day. Oh my gosh, it's not done. The totes are everywhere still. Kids are climbing in and out of them. It's just slow and it's easy and a whole lot more fun. Okay, so now it's time for those 6 budget-friendly tips for decorating your home for early fall that I promised you. Number 1 is something I've already touched on, is go outside and forage for some stems. Instead of running to the store and spending money on stems, I love to go outside and just kind of forage around and see what I see and bring in what I want to bring in. Now, I will say, when you do that, you're going to want to make sure that after you cut everything, you just give it a good shake, so that if it has anything that's shedding off of it already, or there are a bunch of bugs on there or something, you can kind of get that off. Another option for the bugs, I do this with my peonies in the spring, is I just dunk the bloom into a bowl of water and I leave it set outside on the front porch for a little bit. I've also heard that if you just cut the stems, leave them in a little cup of water like you would if you're going to set them on your table, but just set it outside, then that the bugs will realize like, hey, something's wrong here, and they'll just leave, and then when you bring it in the morning, you'll have less bugs. Another thing that I've done in the past to save money on my fall decor is to just cut and dry some of my own flowers from the gardens that we have around the house. I've done this with zinnias, I've done this with peonies, with hydrangeas. So everybody loves to have a new wreath on the door or hanging up on a mirror on your mantle. But if you're trying to save money for this season, then another way to do that is to do a DIY wreath with some of those plants or stems that you've foraged or that you've dried. I've done this twice now, and I absolutely love the natural feel that the wreath has, and I saved so much money by not going and buying a new one. My favorite way to save money when I'm trying to decorate for fall is to buy my pumpkins and buy my mums from local farmers. It's so easy to just run into the grocery store while I'm picking up my milk and all the things and grab myself a mum on the way out. But when I go to the farmer down the street and grab mums and pumpkins there, I always feel like I get so much better deal. Or if you don't have a local farmer, another option is to grow your own. So this year, because we brought our daughter home from Korea in May during planting season, we did not do all of the things that we like to do with the garden, but we actually had bought seeds to do a bunch of different squash, pumpkins, and gourds. So hopefully I'll save those for next year, but that's another way that you can save so much money. So tip number 5 when you're trying to save money on your fall decor is pillow covers. I buy more pillow covers than I do pillows because, one, when you find a pillow that you like, you have a pillow that you like, why would you want to change it? So that's nice to just have that pillow, and I can always use that comfortable pillow when I wake up in the morning and I come out here to have my coffee. Number 2, it's so much more affordable. I love jumping on Etsy and looking at some of the pillow covers that they have. For fall, my favorite pillow covers are some of the more vintage looking ones, just because they do add a lot more texture. Tip number 6 is to DIY your own pumpkins. So I have done pumpkins from sweaters. I have done pumpkins from some clearance fabric that I found at Joann's. This year, me and the girls are gonna do some air dry pumpkins. And I saw these cute pumpkin pillows, and I still have the trunk of one of the sweaters that I took apart when I made the little baby sweater pumpkins. So I'm gonna go down, grab that sweater trunk out, and do a pumpkin pillow DIY here in the next couple weeks. If you look at the whole of this list that I just shared with you, the main reoccurring theme is if you put just a little bit of work in, if you do a DIY, if you go for a walk in the woods, then you're going to save yourself so much money. And the other thing that I've discovered in doing some DIY home decor items is that it's very therapeutic. It's so fun to just get to put the wreath together, and if it doesn't look quite right, you just pull it back out and then put it back in. And also just going for a walk in the woods is so therapeutic. It's so wonderful to just be out in the nature, and especially if you have kiddos. Me and the girls love running out there. We were actually out there, 2 days ago, just rummaging through the woods, talking about the things that we saw, and I was getting some ideas for things that I want to do in the coming months. It's so nice to do those things. It's good for you, and then it's also good for your wallet. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it inspired you that transitioning from summer to fall decor does not have to be hard, and it doesn't have to be stressful. It can be a slow process, and honestly, when it is a slow process, I feel like it always just feels that much better. If you're new to my channel, I hope that you hit the subscribe button down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.